Well, this time everything says that the bitrate's good. Doesn't seem to have any kind of issue with freezing or stuttering. So, let's try this again. Alrighty, well, tonight for this stream we're going to be doing a full playthrough of Dune Imperium, and as a little change of pace, I picked up the digital version by Direwolf Digital from Steam, and I'll be playing that instead of laying it out on the tabletop. Kind of the best of both worlds, mixing in a little video gaming with our board gaming. So, this is actually one of the more highly rated digital versions of board games out there, and you're about to see why in just a second. So there are various forms of online play for this digital version. You can host private games, you can join public games, there are a couple of different game modes, but we're going to go ahead and choose a solo play, and we're going to play this one against the AI components. So in this version we'll be getting the House Hagel, however you pronounce it, single player component of the board game. So this is the special deck that we use only for single player when we're playing on the board. In this case, the AI is going to play that against us, and we're going to see how it goes. As I said in the intro and the rules explanation, this game is fairly complicated, so there are a lot of moving parts to it. I'll try to make sure that I keep up with the explanation as we go along, though. So I'm going to go ahead and create my game, and we will jump right in. So for the sake of it being the first time playing this in an online or a stream setting, I'm going to go ahead and just stick with Paul as my leader and jump into a game. So my opponents in this game, it looks like, are going to be the Beast from House Harkonnen and Ariana from House Thorvald. Beast went first. He's got this first player marker indicating that for this round he is the first player. So the way that play works in this game is that everybody gets as many agent turns as they have agent tokens available to them. So in this instance, everybody starts with 2. Nobody has their Sword Master yet, which is the third agent. So we get to each play in turn, one agent at a time, until we've gone through all of our agents. So on this first turn, I played a card that had a Fremen symbol on it, so I was able to move my agent to this first Fremen space, Still Suits. And doing so awarded me 1 water, which goes into my resources down here. And also in this phase, I deployed 2 of my 3 troops from my garrison. So I have 4 power in combat right now. So I'll confirm that as the end of my first agent phase, and then Ariana and Beast are going to take Ariana's going to take her first agent phase, and Beast will be taking his second. No, and it says that the stream just went unstable again, so we'll see. Okay, so Beast and Ariana both took their turns, and it's back to me. So I've got a couple of options here. I'm going to play a dagger that has, the reconnaissance that has the blue symbol here, which are for the Fremen outposts. If I play reconnaissance. I don't know why it's not letting me play reconnaissance. Not letting me play any cards. Okay. I guess that I hadn't actually ended my turn. On that first round, when I thought I'd ended my turn, I actually ended my troop deployment. So now that I've ended my turn, Ariana's making her first turn, and Beast will be going momentarily with his second agent turn. Now in each of these locations, when you see a symbol underneath the location symbol, like in this instance 5, that represents a cost to actually move to that space. So not only will you need the symbol for the agent deployment, you'll also need 5 Solari to move to that space. But now it's come back around to me again, so I will do what I was trying to do before and deploy an agent to Arakeen, and that will give me an additional combat unit, and it allows me to draw a card, which is what the green symbol here indicates. So I will go ahead and deploy that new unit and the last unit that I had in my garrison, so that I have a combat power of 8. So hopefully at the end of this round I will be able to win this conflict and take the first place reward. So now Ariana should be, oh no, it looks like Ariana's already finished. So now we go into the reveal round, which is, or I'm sorry, the reveal phase of the round, which plays the remaining cards in your hand, and when it does so, it adds any additional combat power that the reveal indicators on those cards provide you. So I get 1 additional combat power from this dagger, and then I have 5 resources to spend to buy cards from up here in the lineup. So for this one, I can afford something like Chiani or the Sardaukar Legion, but I'm actually going to buy a Gunthopter and a Scout. So those will go into my discard pile and get shuffled into my deck on the next go round. But now the conflict gets resolved based on the combat power down there, and I took first place, so I gain 1 faction influence and 1 spice. So choosing which faction I get influence with, I've already got 1 influence with the Fremen. I will choose to get a second one there, and gaining a second faction reputation grants me 1 victory point, and for the Fremen grants me access to an additional Fremen space. So this starts round 2, so we got a new conflict in place. This time the conflict is raid stockpiles. First player shifted to Ariana, and now it's my turn as the second up in this one. So if I use Signet Ring, I can deploy to this space because I have 2 reputation with the Fremen, and doing so will give me 2 water plus the draw a card function of the card that I played, because the Signet Ring for the Atreides, gives a draw ability when you play it for an agent turn. So now I've deployed 1 troop, I've drawn my additional card, and I've ended my first agent turn. So Beast goes next, and then right back to Ariana. I think the first thing that I'm going to want to do here is get up to 8 Solari in my resource pile so that I can work on getting my Swordmaster. The Swordmaster is a 3rd combat unit, which is pretty handy. So I will go ahead and occupy this consortium space. This one grants me 1 additional energy during the reveal phase that I can use to buy cards with, plus another troop in my garrison. As you can see right now in the combat power, I'm significantly lower than everybody else when it comes to what I have available. Now we're going into the reveal round, and there's a pretty good chance I'm not going to get first or second place in this particular conflict, because I've got almost no combat power on the board at all, and nothing as far as additional cards that can help me gain any. So this time around I got pretty well stomped in the conflict phase. So unfortunately, third place only gets any rewards in the conflict phase if it's a 4-player game. If it's a 3rd-player game, I get nothing. So that particular conflict's been resolved. Board's going to get reset. Everyone's going to get awarded the resources that they had cards stocked for. New conflict goes on the table, and the first player token passes to me. So now I can continue my efforts to get build up some Solari in the hopes of getting to that Swordmaster. So I'll play one of my agents to the secure contract space and gain 3 Solari from that automatically. So I'm halfway to what I need for that access to that Swordmaster space. In addition to the Swordmaster, you can also move to the Mentat space, and that provides the Mentat as an additional agent for a single turn. But I will go ahead and move to the Imperial Basin. I gain 3 spice from that, and that's going to let me, on my next turn if I want, trade those 3 spice for 8 Solari and easily have enough to purchase my Swordmaster. One thing that I forgot to do was deploy any troops, so that was well thought out on my part. So I had nothing deployed, which means no benefits to my combat power going into the reveal phase, but it is what it is. I will go ahead and buy a Chiani card, and we'll let this combat resolve again, this conflict resolve again, which is once more going to go to the beast, because I don't have enough to stop him, neither does Ariana. So because Ariana and I both tied for 2nd place, that actually means we both get 3rd place. A tie goes to the next space below what you actually fall into on the victory track in the conflict, unfortunately. So round 4, first player token has gone back to beast again, so we'll let him and Ariana do their thing, and then I will continue my push toward gaining more Solari. So if I use Chani here, I can go ahead and gain 3 more Solari from that, and Chani has an ability that gave me 2 additional water as well. Oh wow, Ariana came out of the gate hard with a big deployment right off the bat. So I don't really want to keep getting slapped down on these conflicts. So for this one, I'm going to go ahead and use my signet ring and spend 4 of the Solari that I've already been saving to get 5 additional units. Draw an extra card. Oh, you know what? I did not think that out. I keep forgetting, but in order to deploy units, you have to be on a combat space, which is any space indicated by the crossed swords here. So buying these units did me absolutely no good, because now I can't deploy them because I am out of agent phases. You can't deploy troops in a reveal phase. So I can retreat some of them to my garrison. So all of my troops are actually already in my garrison. If I use this combat power bonus from the Bene Gesserit sister, it does nothing because I have no troops deployed into the combat field, so I will go ahead and use 2 additional energy from that. And oh, well, that's a tough decision. Maybe I'll go with the Revered Mother. Or Reverend Mother. I'm sorry, I didn't read it. That was not a mispronunciation like normal. That was just a not reading the actual title of the card. So but yeah, so now we're going to go into the conflict resolution, and I will, again, not get anything. So I'm moving right along here, doing wonderfully. So this next conflict that just came into play, oh wait, I guess that was the last conflict. So there was a marker on that last conflict that indicated that the winner of the conflict gained control of a space. So that means one of these spaces should be controlled by Beast, since he won that last round, but that doesn't seem to be the case. So for this one, I guess I will go ahead and no, that only affects her. Let me go ahead and just, I guess I'll gain a combat unit. I don't have any cards really letting me move to a space that's going to benefit me too much. Oh, you know what? Yeah, I did. Okay, so basically I'm all over the place doing really terribly. So let's go ahead and see if I can recover any of that by getting some troops out there. And hopefully having enough additional combat power in the reveal phase to maybe not absolutely lose this conflict round. Notice I was only able to deploy 2 troops because the maximum deployment you can do on any turn is your 2-troop original lineup for your garrison, plus any troops that were earned in that round. So for that particular one, there was not a whole lot I could do because I only had the 2 troops from my original garrison available. I didn't earn any more during that. I did earn 1 more. In that case, I don't know why it only let me deploy 1 or 2. But hopefully Ariana doesn't have anything that boosts her combat power, and we will never mind. I was going to say tie for second place, but Beast had plenty of cards waiting to get his combat power way up there at the end, and I lost that again. So see everyone, it's not just dice rolling that I can't do. It's apparently also strategy. Especially seeing as I'm the only one who doesn't have my sword master yet. That's awesome. Better turn some of this around, or well, that's not going to help me. I was going to say I'd better turn some of this around or I'm in trouble, but based on the cards that I've got here, I'm already in trouble. Oh well, let's try to plan ahead. I will sell some spice to gain some Solari in the hopes of, I guess, next round being able to gain my sword master. Let me go ahead and get a bunch of extra cards this turn. See if any of those will help me make sure I win this conflict. Because if I win the conflict, at least I'll get another victory point, which I'm kind of getting slaughtered in the victory point realm as well, because I only have one to every other character's, well, 5 and 4 now, I guess, because the beast just gained another one. And unfortunately I don't have any agents left, so all I can do is reveal. Well, I got 5 power. I'm assuming the beast is going to be able to rack up something that'll beat that. So I'll buy some Worm Riders and another Bene Gesserit agent. And we'll see what happens once they do their other 2 agent turns and reveal. I'm sure it will involve me being well behind the curve for combat power. Yep. So Beast just jumped up to 8. I had 5. And he hasn't even had his reveal turn yet, so that means he'll probably just rack up some more between now and then and continue to leave me behind. Oh, hey, look at that. I managed to 2nd place. I got 1 water and 1 spice resource for that one. But the beast is still well ahead on victory points. Oh, this would be a good one to take. A couple victory points and you get to seize a board space. So at this point I do have enough to get my Blade Master. So on my first turn, fortunately I have a card that allows me to go to the Consortium. I will go ahead and get my Blade Master finally. Meaning, like everybody else, I get a 3rd agent turn. So now I'm more on equal footing with them, but I'm still well behind the curve and will be trying to play catch up. Beast has already dropped some good combat power, so they have no garrison troops. That one wouldn't do me any good. That one really wouldn't do me much good either, so let's go ahead and play out some spice smugglers here so I can spend 2 spice to be able to get 1 Bene Gesserit reputation and 3 Solari. So I'll do that just so I can start moving up the reputation scales a little bit, and I will drop all 3 of my garrison forces out there in the hopes of beating Beast in this conflict. I really want those 2 victory points and that board space. Beast gained another victory point just now by getting to the alliance space for the Empire. And Ariana did the same for getting to the alliance space for the Bene Gesserit. So now it's my turn to do something. I think my best bet on this turn is probably going to be to just grab some spice, because actually let's go ahead and try to continue the climb up some reputation ladders. If I get to the alliance space on any of these, I can actually take victory points away and gain the alliance for myself. Doing so may be in my best interest to get them a little further away from the win. And so I've only got 3 energy to spend this time. I can buy a Guild Administrator, or I can buy Gene Manipulation. So go ahead and take that one for now. End this turn and see what they do to... Oh, hey, look at that. I won this conflict. That means 2 victory points, and Imperial Basin belongs to me. Since Imperial Basin belongs to me, it means every time I deploy a unit onto it, an agent onto it, I get an extra spice as well as an extra unit to deploy. Well, Ariana just gained another alliance, so that ain't good. I'll deploy onto my newly acquired space, get a couple spice. I should... Oh, that's right, I get to draw a card in that instance. Oh, that's not good. Beast just gained himself 5 combat units from that particular move. Let's go ahead and see if I can keep up with him by grabbing some combat units for myself. I don't think I'll be able to deploy enough of them by the time we get to the end of this particular round, but at least they're there in case I do get an opportunity of some sort. So if not, I will at least try to build up the cards that I'm going to have available for me in my reveal phase. Yeah, only able to get 2 units out of my garrison. But if I get some good draws here, I might get some additional boosts to my combat power during reveal. And the Gunthopter is a good one for that, because it allows me to deploy an extra troop and it gives me 3 additional combat as part of its reveal properties. So I got to jump up there quite a bit. I'll go ahead and deploy a troop, and I'll use 2 additional combat power from the reveal on my Bene Gesserit sister. And then I have 3 energy to spend, so I'll get a recruiter. That one lets me grab additional combat resources, so good card to have in my deck. And hopefully Beast won't be able to catch up to me at 17. So that gives me an additional 2 victory points and control of Carthage. So that's pretty handy. But I still don't know if I'll be able to stop them with them both being at 9 victory points from hitting that 10 mark. Nope, I sure couldn't. So there you go. That was one full playthrough of the Dune Imperium game, which goes much more quickly on the digital version than it does on the desktop version. But because I started late and it did go so quickly, and we have so much time left, let's go ahead and see if I can redeem myself with another playthrough. So I'm just going to create another standard game. Probably end up using Paul again because, I just don't like the Harkonnens. And we'll see what we can see. So this first conflict is worth a victory point for first place. For second place, it's worth an intrigue card, which I got none of during the last round, or last game as it were. And it's also worth 2 Solari. But I don't want to mess around this time. I want to go for the big gain of getting my Swordmaster early. So that's what I'm going to work on. Famous last words. I know I said that last game, but maybe this time I'll meet more success with that venture. I can put at least as much combat power on the board right now as everybody else, so depending on how the reveal turns play out, I have a chance at winning this combat round. I'll go ahead and buy a Bene Gesserit Initiate, or whatever that one was. I was reading the other card and buying that one, so that didn't really help out so much. Oh, I just noticed Paul's being challenged by his father this game. So nobody gets a victory point there because me and the Count tied, so we both get the second place reward, but that's okay. Little extra Solari, an intrigue card, which intrigue card here allows me to recall an agent, meaning I can use him for a third agent turn. And the new conflict has a victory point and a control as its rewards, so some good options here. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and grab a couple extra Solari from Imperials. So I hit my 8 Solari that I was shooting for, and on my next agent turn here, when it comes back around to me, I will be able to go ahead and gain my Swordmaster, which is what I'm going to do. So now I'm the first one who gets his Swordmaster, and I'll have a third agent turn. And if I want, a fourth agent turn with my plot intrigue card. There are different types of intrigue cards, plot being one that gets played during agent turns, and the combat obviously being one that gets played during combat turns. But I think that maybe I'll Nope, never mind. I forgot I already have an agent there. Only one agent can occupy any space at a given time, so nothing much I can do with that. Let me just go ahead and get some extra spice here. Deploy my single troop that I've got available. See if I can get some traction. But if I recall an agent, then that means I get to take an extra agent turn, and I will use that to send that agent up to the consortium, gain an extra combat unit that I can at least have tucked away in my garrison. Then we'll go into the reveal phase. I don't think I have any additional combat power coming my way, but by putting that agent up into that block, I did get an additional energy, and fortunately was able to use it to buy a pretty okay card. So I'm going to win against the Count, so at least I'll get the second place reward of 2 water, but I couldn't beat the Duke. So we'll see how the next one goes. Definitely off to a better start than I was. And this time around, the first round token goes to me. So I'm going to go ahead and grab an intrigue card from the Bene Gesserit and start moving up their affinity track, reputation track, whatever it's called. Both of them are quite a ways off from being able to get their sword masters, so I should have a little bit of leeway in playing nope. Yeah, that's fine. A little bit of leeway in getting that extra agent turn and hopefully being able to do more with my resources between now and the time they do hit that 8 Solari mark between them. So the Count gained a victory point by hitting the second mark on the trail here. I'm going to go ahead and spend the 1 water to gain 2 spice, but also, because it's a combat space, have the ability to deploy some troops. Honestly though, it doesn't behoove me to do so. I still can't beat the Duke no matter how many troops I deploy. I just don't have enough combat power coming in at the reveal phase, so I'm better off keeping them in my garrison and hoping that I get a chance to deploy them next round. But we shall see how it goes. I'm most likely gonna... Oh, see, if I put a unit out, I would have at least got second place, but I'm not really too terribly concerned with those 4 Solari, so if it had been worth victory points or something, that would have been a different story. Ah, see, like this one is worth a victory point. See if I can potentially get that one going for me. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and gain another combat unit, so I can put all 3 of them out on the field. I also get to draw 2 additional cards, one for the space and one for the signet ring card itself that I played. Unfortunately, this intrigue card isn't going to help me until I gain a faction alliance, which means getting all the way down the influence track with one of my factions. So I will continue climbing one of the influence tracks and gain a victory point at the same time for getting to the second space on the Bene Gesserit track. Okay, so it's my turn again as the only one with any kind of capability for the third agent round. So might as well go ahead and gain a couple extra spice here. Then we'll go into the reveal phase. Nope, not enough to get that victory point. The Duke's still in the lead there. And hardly enough to do anything worthwhile in buying new cards from the lineup. But I guess I'll settle for the water and spice that I get from second place here. Unless the Count pulls something out to give himself some combat power and jump up past my 7. Oh, actually, here we go. I forgot I drew a new intrigue card, which will allow me to get 3 additional combat power, which boosts me up high enough to overtake the Duke. And hopefully the Duke doesn't have anything else up his sleeve, which he doesn't, and I'm gonna win this conflict, which means another victory point for me. So, things this time really aren't going too awfully bad. Let's hope that that keeps going. Have another victory point up for grabs in this conflict. So I'm going to go ahead and spend 4 spice to gain a couple of units, some significant Solari, and another intrigue card. So an intrigue card will, if I have a high council seat, will allow me to go ahead and gain 2 additional spice if I use it. High council seat is this space here. It's persistent, so once you've claimed it, you every round get 2 additional energy. But I want to go ahead and choose a combat space so that I can deploy some of my troops. This one will give me an additional intrigue card and an additional troop. So you see this one had the X on it, so that's trash. You can choose a card in your hand or your discard pile or in play to permanently remove from the game. So trashing cards means if I get rid of something like this Convincing Argument, which is one of the weaker cards that I have, or if I get rid of Seek Allies, it just increases the chances that you're going to be able to get better cards out faster. So I'll deploy my troops, and then I will trash this reconnaissance card. Where did it go? Hand. Okay. So this reconnaissance card really doesn't do much for me. All it does is give me 1 energy at the end of the reveal phase. So I can go ahead and trash that one and not feel too awfully bad about it. So at this point, it looks like all of us have our sword masters. So everybody's getting 3 turns. So I can shuffle and draw. Let's go ahead and do that. I don't really have any great cards out here right now. Well, I continue to not really have any great cards, but hey, what are you going to do? Let's go ahead and get an intrigue card. Maybe I can get something to offset being underpowered this time around. But that won't do anything for me because it's plot. So plot intrigue's all well and good, but it's not going to help me win this round of the game. My reveal phase gives me no additional combat power, and I only have 4 energy to spend. So all I can really do is grab a couple of Araxis liaisons because they're 2 energy apiece. And watch myself get stomped. Oh, when did the count hit 5 victory points? I didn't even see that happen. Alright, well, things are starting to shift away from me, and therefore I really need to kind of get in gear and see exactly what I can do to change that for myself. Alrighty, so I'm going to go ahead and start out by drawing a couple extra cards. I'll put my 1 garrisoned troop out into the conflict area. I will draw a card and draw another card to give myself hopefully a few more options as we go. Now at this point, this does bring the option to use that card to improve my situation a little bit, because I don't have anything else except for what I just played to move any faction positions. Fortunately, I have that specific card which will let me use any of my cards at all to move up any faction position. But because I moved in the Bene Gesserit, I hit the alliance position, so now I've got a full alliance with them, and I got an extra intrigue card for that. And now because I have an alliance, I also have the ability to play this card. So we'll see what the game brings as we go. Not a lot of options that look really great to me this time, but I guess we'll go here, spend a couple water, and draw 3 additional cards and see what the reveal phase brings. I can also use this intrigue card, which allows me to spend 2 Solari to advance my reputation with any faction in 1 space. So if I wanted to do that, I could go ahead and work on some faction, but I don't think that I want to do that just yet, so I'm just going to hold that intrigue card for this round. Let my opponents go ahead and take their last couple, or I guess their last 1 agent turn each, and see what happens as we go into the reveal phase. Okay, nobody's got a ton of combat power showing. Let's see what reveal phase does to boost everyone up. Alright, I almost have enough to get Spice Must Flow, but I'm going to grab the I guess I'll go with the Worm Riders this time around. And another Arrakis Liaison so I don't leave any energy on the table. We'll see how these numbers start to resolve as the other two go through their reveal phases. Alright, so the Duke's at 7. I could tie him at 7, or I can spend 2 spice to win this one. I think I'll actually go ahead and win. Well, I say win. They might have an intrigue card that... Well, the Count might have an intrigue card that would boost his combat power, but I can see that the Duke doesn't have any, so I think he's about as stacked as he can get, which means I'm going to get first place and receive 2 intrigue cards and an increase in my reputation with one of the factions. So I will increase my reputation with probably the Empire, I guess. And then I have that intrigue card that's a plot intrigue, so at the beginning of this round I will play my plot intrigue to get myself to the alliance space with the Emperor. Well, I drew a crap hand for this turn. I have no idea if I'll be able to turn that into anything useful for this entire round. Well, here's one that boosts my faction with the Fremen. This one I can boost my faction with anybody, so I'll spend the 2 Solari here to boost my Emperor faction and gain an alliance there. And a victory point at the same time. And then I will go ahead and gain 1 reputation with the Fremen as well. And I'll get a combat unit and a combat space so I can deploy all 3 of my troops from my garrison. And there we go. So I was able to do a couple of decent things with the intrigues I had for that first round. We'll see how that holds up for the rest of the turn. Okay, so moving along, if I go ahead and I have very few options. Let me go ahead and send a Fremen out here. And use this trash ability to get rid of one of these convincing arguments, because I started building up too many weak cards in this deck, and it's going to affect my ability to be combat effective against these guys as we go. So I don't really have a lot of options open in front of me right now. I guess I will gain a little bit of Solari. No, I'll go ahead up here, gain a little bit of... Oh, never mind. Sorry, that's the wrong card. go up here, gain a little bit of energy, gain an additional combat unit in my garrison for next turn, and hope that these guys don't boost their combat ratings too high. I've got 5 energy going into this round, so I'm going to get Paul's Mentat teacher. I'm not even going to try to say his name so I don't get the brutal mocking for my poor pronunciation from anybody out there. What was that argument, 10? Alright, so nobody really boosted any combat power, so I'm going to go ahead and pass. See if anybody else tries to do anything, but they do not. So, yeah, I win again. Another intrigue card. 2 faction influence, so I can go ahead and use that to continue boosting my Fremen influence. And ooh, I want this one. Definitely need to focus on combat power this round because that's 2 victory points and ownership of a board space. So I will be doing my best to make sure that I can take that here at the end. So I'll go ahead, get an additional troop, get both of them deployed out onto the conflict field, and draw my 2 cards. My intrigue that I got from winning that last time is a faction increase for the guild, so I'll go ahead and use that. And I will end my turn. So on my next turn, I'm going to go ahead and deploy somebody else to the... never mind, I can't. Yeah, that makes sense. I was going to deploy somebody else to the guild, but the Duke already did. So, not much I can do there. Instead, I'm going to continue focusing on combat power, which I can potentially do by spending... I don't have water to spend. Okay, well, we're just going to gain a water, gain an additional troop. Oops, wrong color. Need to go back to some Sesame Street and relearn those colors, because apparently I don't know how they work anymore. Deploy that 3rd combat unit. And now I have a water that I can use to deploy to this Fremen space, but I won't be able to actually deploy any units before combat starts, so that ain't gonna help me too much. So the best I can probably do is I'll go ahead and get a few more Solari so that next turn I can, next round I can theoretically buy my space on the High Council. Alright, so now we're into the reveal phase. I had some good combat power in there because I had my Worm Riders, so because I have my max influence, I was able to get a nice boost there. Unfortunately, I only have 2 energy to spend this turn, so grab these Spice Smugglers and see if Leto can get enough combat power out to give me a challenge. The count came close. I'm still in the lead, so let's... Oh, nobody did anything, so I get to claim control of Arakeen, Arakeen, whatever you want to call it. And I gained my 2 victory points. So I'm at least tied for the lead in victory points right now, which is good. Ooh, there's the winning card if I can grab it. So I guess it would probably be a good idea. Oh, yeah, I already control Imperial Basin. It'd probably be a good idea for me to focus on combat power. Oh, no, I don't control Imperial Basin. Leto does. Can't trust that joker. Alright, so let me go ahead and start by using a dispatch card to allow me to move to this Fremen space. Add a couple of units to my garrison. Deploy those 2 units. And start building up a little combat power there on the field of battle. Go ahead and gain another unit, draw some more cards, deploy some more troops, that sort of thing. I'm pretty confident that I can win this one because I've got the private army and a master tactician both in my combat intrigue cards, so I can boost pretty way up there at the end to get an additional 8 combat power. Oh, but Leto just stole one of my victory points, so even if I grab that this round, I'm not going to win. Well, not off that one at least. So, let's see. Let's go ahead and gain an intrigue card, a combat unit, draw another card, deploy some troops, see where this goes. I was hoping that I could finish it off this turn, but thanks to Leto stealing that victory point, that's not going to happen. Hopefully the count doesn't do anything to gain another one and win the game out from under me. So we're in the reveal phase for everybody. Let's see how combat works out. Only 3 energy this time. Alright, good enough. Let's gain an additional 2 energy to get that card. And resolve this conflict. Okay, Leto went up to 7. Leto, sorry. I'm gonna pass and see what happens with everybody else, but looks like nobody else had any moves, and that gives me my 2 additional victory points, and I now control the basin. So now I control 2 never mind. Guess it doesn't matter, because look, the Count came in and used his special ability to buy a victory point and snatch the game out from under me anyway. But it was still a pretty fun game. A lot easier to stream it that way than it is to stream it as a tabletop. But hopefully it was easier to watch and understand as well. What do you have to know the gameplay or anything that happening on the board? And I would that from. But if nobody has any questions, yeah, I think we'll probably call it a night there. It's a pretty interesting game. The Steam version is $22, I think, at normal price, but any of you who've used Steam know that normal price on a Steam game is something that doesn't last very long. They have so many sales. Unfortunately, if you're going to play with friends, everybody needs their own copy of the game. I guess that's a sacrifice you make for not spending $60 on the physical board game. But it's definitely a fun one, and if you've got friends who are into that cutthroat kind of strategic planning and resource management gameplay, this is an interesting combination of that and a deck builder. So I would highly recommend it. Anyway, if anybody has any questions, let me know. And if not, I will see you all Tuesday, hopefully, for another game. Until then, thanks everyone.